All right, good morning, everybody. This is the First Alert Desk. My name is Lana Harris. Thanks so much for watching today. I want to make sure you are caught up on the headlines in the news today. Make sure you know what's going on. The first story actually happened about an hour ago. At least that's when the report started coming out. Marcus Mariota has been released from the Falcons. All right, so we know Mariota signed a 2-year deal with the Falcons last offseason, but according to the overthecap.com, the Falcons are going to save about $12 million in salary cap space with Mariota off the roster. Now, he was named the Falcons starting quarterback before the start of the 2022 season. He held that spot for the next 13 games. He had a 5-8 record as the Falcons starting quarterback. He threw for over 2,000 yards, 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. But you probably remember, if you were following the season, after the bye week in week 14, Desmond Ridder was named starting QB, and Mariota was placed on injury reserve with that knee injury. But again, he has been released. We will be sure to follow this throughout the offseason. All right, your next story is one a lot of people have been keeping their eye on. Will we or will we not see up to $20,000 wiped off our student loans? A lot of people hope so, a lot of people hope not, okay? The Supreme Court are going to hear 2 cases today challenging this program. So the big question is the legality here. Does the Biden administration have the power to do this? And then do the states and the individuals that are challenging it have the legal right to challenge it in that way? All right, so that's what the Supreme Court is going to be hearing. So this was yesterday. A crowd actually gathered near the U.S. Supreme Court in the rain in anticipation of this decision. They want to see this happen. The Biden administration has said it's going to give tens of millions of Americans more financial breathing room. Now, as far as the challenges, 6 Republican-led states say they would be harmed financially if the program went into effect. And 2 borrowers from Texas who don't fully qualify for the relief sued because they don't think it's fair that anybody else gets it either, and they never got the chance for public comment. Now, critics, including a lot of Republican lawmakers, say the Biden administration does not have the power to do this and that the country can't afford it anyway. This plan would cost almost $500 billion, but it would free up funds for people who are saddled with debt. And on the other hand, some believe it will make inflation worse. Now, in the meantime, nobody has had to pay student loans for years now, since 2020. So that will end this year. President Biden has said that that's going to either end 60 days after the Supreme Court's decision or 60 days after June 30th, whichever comes first. That would be around August. So we will, of course, continue to follow that for updates for you. Our next story is about gun violence. All of us have heard or seen or maybe even experienced gun violence or known somebody who has in our community. And local mothers here are, quite frankly, they're sick of it. Right now, we can tell you a newborn baby is fighting for its life right now after her mother was shot and killed. This happened earlier this month. Now, the man accused of killing her mother is behind bars right now, but obviously the gun violence is robbing our kids of their futures. Senseless gun violence. That includes this woman right here. She was killed in our community earlier this month, and it's part of the reason why about an hour and a half ago, Moms Demand Action and other supporters gathered in downtown for an advocacy day. They want lawmakers to do more. They believe Georgia has some of the weakest gun laws in the nation and that they need to adopt stronger measures to stop the wrong people from getting access to guns. Now, the woman on your screen is 20-year-old Shania Rodriguez. This is the man who police say killed her. His name is 22-year-old Diamante Haithcoats. He has been arrested and charged with her death. Now, Shania was reportedly pregnant with his child when police say he shot her at the Brandon Hills condos in DeKalb County earlier this month. She was rushed to the hospital and doctors conducted an emergency C-section to save her baby. But unfortunately, Rodriguez died days later. Now, Shania's mother, Adrienne Rodriguez, said this is actually the 2nd child she has lost to gun violence. Can you imagine? She says that she hopes the system does not drop the ball here, and safety advocates have the same sentiment. So again, there is a rally in downtown today specifically on this issue of gun violence. We will bring you an update on what was said and what happened out there coming up on Atlanta News First at noon. In the meantime, we have to talk about Buckhead City. The chance of Buckhead City being a thing is actually one step closer to reality. People have been talking about this for a long time. Seems to actually be going down the right path for those who actually want to see this thing happen. Now, we have learned if Buckhead does break free of Atlanta, this could actually be the financial end to that controversial public safety training center in DeKalb County, the one that's been the reason behind a lot of violence and protest, and a protest getting shot and a state trooper getting shot, same public safety facility. This could do it in, apparently. So the bills that would let people vote whether or not Buckhead stays a part of Atlanta passed through committee yesterday and could soon be on the Senate floor. Public safety has been the core reason for the Buckhead City movement, but at a public safety meeting just hours after those bills passed committee, Atlanta's police chief said if this does happen, it could actually mess with the city's safety plans. I'll let you hear from him.
6 zones in the city, a well sought after prestige is which zone can have the crime reduction award for the year. That will this year go to Zone 2, which had a 14% reduction in crime in the Buckhead neighborhoods.
Well, the irony is not lost on me that people who are claiming public safety as the reason for a Buckhead city would actually be the cause that stops a training facility that is meant to help improve public safety.
I was also thinking of the irony there. Very interesting stuff. The chief also said Buckhead won the crime reduction award last year as well with a 7% reduction. To his knowledge, he says that is the first time that a zone has won the award in back-to-back years. Their point of saying this is Buckhead really as bad of a city crime-wise as people think it is? Now, we know a couple years ago they had a really bad problem with crime, and that's, again, what started this whole movement. But their point is saying it's not like that anymore. Does this really need to happen? So, as always, we will continue to follow this, and we'll have updates for you coming up on the shows this afternoon as well. In the meantime, we're talking about another city now, this time in Mableton for the first time ever. People living in Georgia's newest city of Mableton are selecting who's going to represent them on city council, and they're also choosing their mayor. So it's really exciting stuff. There's just one problem. Early voting is underway right now, and another candidate just dropped out of the race. Okay, so now Cobb County elections officials are scrambling to notify voters as they are headed to the polls. Our Rebecca Shrem has been on this, and here is her report.
It was too late to change the ballots because they had already been printed, so they had to put up signs like this one letting everybody know that Ricky Dickens, one of the city council candidates, has withdrawn from the race. He only had one opponent, so Deborah Herndon will be the presumed winner for District 6. Turnout is slow. They maybe had a few dozen people show up on day one of early voting yesterday, but remember, there are more than 3 weeks of early voting leading up to Election Day, March 21st. Ricky Dickens is the 4th candidate here in Mableton to either withdraw from running or be disqualified because their checks for the qualifying fee bounced. Residents of this area voted in November to become a city. Mableton is now the largest city in Cobb County. Its boundaries include what were unincorporated areas between Austell and Smyrna. We spoke with one woman who was proud to cast her ballot for mayor and city council, even though she voted against cityhood back in the November election.
I raised 4 kids here, buried 2 kids here, so this is my home. And I'm going to do whatever I can to make it a better place.
I'm at the Mabel House Art Center. This is one of 2 early voting locations as residents of Mableton pick their inaugural leaders. We have a ton of information, including who the candidates are, on our website and our Atlanta News First app.
All right, so there you have it. And of course, we will continue to follow this, and be sure to look for this story on Atlanta News First at noon. And just in the coming days and weeks, we'll be sure to keep you posted on what happens here. And that just about does it for me, but I could not let this day pass without telling you it is National Pancake Day, and you can get a free short stack at IHOP until 4 o'clock. Let me repeat it. National Pancake Day, you can go to IHOP until 4 o'clock and get a free short stack. We're talking about the original buttermilk pancakes, you know the ones. Now, IHOP also asks that you donate to an organization that helps children battling critical illnesses. This is actually really cool. Every year since 2006, IHOP's National Pancake Day has raised nearly $30 million of people deciding to do that. So you could go get yourself a free short stack, maybe put that money towards donating and help some kids out. Awesome day. Love food, love helping, love generosity. Love this weather, okay? We're gonna have a full weather report coming up on Atlanta News First at noon, but I gotta tell you, I heard them talking about it earlier. Today is going to be gorgeous, arguably the best day of the week, so make some lunch plans, make some dinner plans, make some get outside plans. That's what I'd be doing. That water looks so good. I wish I lived there. All right, that does it for me, guys. But thanks again for watching. My name is Lana Harris. This was the First Alert Desk. Again, our next newscast is coming up at noon.